Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. And if this is your first time stopping by, I am Catrice, the creator behind Catrice Designs. And yeah, I am so shocked about this video. You guys remember when I did the bandana fabric video? Look at that. I don't know if my camera is going to pick up in that. 600 views. I have never, ever, 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 have I never, ever had a video to hit 600. Oh my gosh, thank you guys so much for watching. I woke up this morning to this and I was just blown away. But anyway, so much for that. And the subscribers are climbing as well. I just want you guys to know that I appreciate y'all so much, and thank you so much for tuning in and watching the videos and commenting, just doing all the YouTubey stuff. So today's video, we are going to try, and I say try because I made the little boxy bags everybody's making. I call them accessory bags, but they look like a little shape box. So I made one and it turned out horrible. So that was about 3 months ago, and I haven't tried it since. So today we're going to try it together. Maybe I've got you guys with me, I can get through it. So I'm going to use this fabric here, which is a very bright floral themed fabric, and I'm just going to use a white lining, and I have my fleece here. So I'm going to make a small one because I don't have many zippers, and I'm looking around for the zipper that I'm going to use, but it'll just be a white standard zipper. And the other thing that I'm going to try, I want to see if I can use DTF on faux leather. So I'm going to either burn it up or it's going to work. So we're going to see if that'll work, but it's going to look like that. So I'm going to have my company name on there. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, so we're going to start with the little mini heat pressing project first, so I can get that out the way. And I've got my my mini heat press already turned on, and I have it on the medium 2 bars heat because I don't want to get it too hot. So anytime you have film, you're going to have a border across there or somewhere on your film, and you want to just go ahead and make sure you trim that off, because if you don't, it's going to transfer on your project and you don't want that. All right. So let's see. I'm going to preheat this a little first. Let's see what side. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter what side. I'll put it on this one. If this works, I'm going to do it on the back side as well. So we shall see. So I'm just going to kind of heat this up just a little bit without melting it. Okay, now this design, because of the circles up here, they're not really going to fit on this length. So what I am going to do, try not to get my head in the way. Just going to position so just a little of the pink is on here, like maybe like that. Okay, now let's see. And you really don't need a top sheet when you're doing DTF because it has this little film on here. Now I'll leave that off so I can see if my project is working. I'm trying to position it so that I can get a little bit of the pink circle on here. Let's do it like that. Okay. Ooh, ooh. Oh, I'm almost scared to do it. Y'all hear me hollering? Let's see. And you're supposed to use firm pressure when you're doing this. And I'm moving this back and forth because the mini press, in order for it to work, you have to kind of move it. Oh my gosh, guys, look. That, oops. Well, ooh. Okay, so yes and no. So you see how the film is kind of flopping because that was the excess hanging over. But as far as the design itself, it is actually on there. So I'm going to trim, when it cools down, I'm going to trim that excess that kind of fell over. And we'll see if this stays on here. I'm going to do a top press. Oh, you know what? This was a cool peel. Look at me blowing it like that's going to do something. So this was a cool peel. That's probably why it kind of came up like that. But it sort of worked. It made the leather feel a little thin, but maybe after it cooled down, it will stiffen back up a little bit. So we'll let this sit over here and cool while we go ahead and get started on the real project for the design for the video today. But that's how that works. So I can't really say that it worked or that it doesn't work, but we'll see. We'll come back over here and visit this again. So, but now let's just head over to the craft table and get started on the accessory bag. Okay, so we're over here at the cutting table, and I decided that I think I'm gonna like this fabric much better. Can you see that? Yeah. So I'm going to, since I'm making this bag for me and not to sell, I thought, let me switch. So this is like a pink floral. You guys know me in my pink by now. And so I'm going to go ahead and use this fabric as the outer portion. And then the interior would be either white, or if I could find, I wish I could find, I may have some lavender fabric that matched the little flower petals in this one, but we'll see. So I think I'm going to do the bag 12 inches wide, 9 inches tall. No, maybe I do it 12 by 12. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. So 12 inches wide. And let me find my little ruler so I can go ahead and get this cut real quickly. And I'm going to go ahead and do 2 panels in that measurements, the 12 inches wide and maybe 11. I'm trying to see how wide I want the bag, honestly, and then how tall. To be on the safe side, I'm going to cut it at 14 inches wide and 10 inches tall. So that's going to be the cut version. And then we'll see what the finished size actually end up being. So this is not going to be a tutorial. This is me fumbling my way through a boxy bag. All right, so we're going to do, what did I say? 14 inches wide and then 9 tall. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and cut these 2 outer pieces for the fabric, these 2 outer pieces, and then I'm going to find the white fabric that I have. I'm going to go ahead and do the white for the lining. And my zipper is, I left the zipper the same. This is the only long enough zipper that I have. So it's still going to be the white zipper. And I think that'll be real pretty against this print. So I'm going to go ahead and get these cut, and then I'll come back on camera and show you how we line up the zipper to the fabric. So I've got the 2 pieces for the outer fabric, and I end up with 13 and a half wide by 11 tall height. And then I've got 2 pieces for the front and the back. And the panel is, the interior fabric is the same thing, the lining. So 13 and a half by 11, and I have 2 pieces for that. Now it is time for the pull tabs that go on the side of the bag. So I'm going to just cut this into 2 4-inch squares. And that's my mini heat press heating up. So I'm going to fold these and iron them as I fold them so that they'll lay nicely when I go to sew them on the bag. And I'm cutting them at 4 inches wide so that I can fold them over in halves, similar to when I did the straps on the tote bag. Okay, so what I'm going to do, so here's the tab. Let me get in frame. And I'm just going to fold it to almost to the center, not quite in the middle, but almost. And then bring it over one more time. So you're going to end up with this. And then I'm going to just go ahead and press this down so it kind of sticks together. And when I go to the machine to start sewing, I'm going to do a stitch down the open side and also a stitch down the side that the fold is on. And you don't have to do the other side where the fold is on, but I just like how it looks. So I think I'm out of frame, but what I'm doing is using my mini press to just fold iron that down. So now it's nice and flat, and it's going to be like that on the bag on the sides. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and do this one, and then next it'll be assembling the panels together so that we can get the zipper. Oh, and the batting that I'm going to use, I normally use a high loft, but I'm all out of it. I gotta order some more of that. So I'm going to use this here, which is just a regular cotton woven batting. It's not fleece or anything. It's not like this. So I'm going to go ahead and use this, and I'm hoping it's going to give me the thickness, but if not, it's fine, because it's, like I said, the bag is just for me, and I'm also, this is a practice run. I'm not trying to make this to sell or anything. So we're gonna, and I hope it turns out better than the other one that I made. I don't know what went wrong with that one. The seams, the lines were all off. Okay, so I've got this together. Now I'm going to go over to the craft table and start with part 2. Okay, so I have the zipper tabs all sewn, one on each side, stitch on each side of it, and the same thing with this one. So and they're not zipper tabs, they are the pull tabs that go on the sides of the bag. So I've got those right here, and they're ready. And I've already quilted the outer fabric, and this is such a busy, pretty print. You can't really see the quilt lines, which I like. Okay, so I've got this, and now the next step that we do is we're going to take the zipper. And you don't need a zipper this long, but this is the only size that I have. So you're going to take the zipper, and it's going to be pretty side down on your fabric. Okay, and you want to line it up so that it flushes with the top edge of the fabric, and face down. So your zipper pull, if you're facing your fabric, your zipper pull is over here and it's hitting the table. So that's face down. Now we're going to take our lining, and because I'm using a white lining, it doesn't matter how I lay this. I mean, if it's, what side is up or down. But if you have a printed fabric, then you want to put pretty side touching pretty sides. Okay, so, and you want to lay it like this right on top of the fabric as well. And again, you want to make sure everything looks even straight across. Okay, and after that, I'm going to go ahead and clip these on, and then go to the machine, and I'm going to do a straight stitch all the way across this top edge, and I'll be right back. So you just want to make sure everything is clipped nicely and even. Okay, and then just go straight across that top line, like so. So here's what we have after we sewn the zipper onto the first 2 pieces. So it looks like that. Okay, and we've got the lining and the outer fabric. So this is what you have. The zipper is kind of just hanging out right there in the middle. So now what I'm going to do is iron, so that this iron the fabric away from the zipper, like just straight across here, all the way down. And then once I do that, I'm going to go back to the machine and do what we call a top stitch. And that's just going to keep the fabric from rising up and getting caught in the zipper every time you go to open and close it. So we're just going to do a quick little press across here. and just kind of pull it as much as you can. Not too much because you don't want to rip it away from the stitches away from the zipper. And I just kind of come to the back and pretty much do the same thing. And it looks like with this, I need to kind of just pull the fabric. Hope my head is not in the way, but kind of want to pull this fabric away from the zipper. Okay. Okay, and you don't have to spend too much time on this because you're going to do the top stitch and it's going to take care of anything. All right, so I'm going to run to the machine and stitch straight across this top section and be right back. Now that I've completed the top stitch on there, so that's how it looks. So we're going to set that to the side and we get the second panel and we're going to put it down, face up to us, and we'll take the piece we just finished sewing together. We're going to lay it on top and put it face down. So the zipper tab, the zipper pull would be here facing down to the table. And you want to make sure that you're lining it up. So that's how it should look. The tops should be sandwiched together. And this is going to be a identical repeat of the first part. So now we're going to take the lining and put it on top. Like that. So we have everything. Okay, so everything is lined up. And now I am going to go ahead and clip the top part across, you know, like just like that. Just go straight across. And then I'm going to take it to the machine and do a top stitch across. Not a top stitch, not a top stitch. I'm going to just go ahead and sew this on to the zipper and the other pieces like that. And then I'm going to take it to the heat press, mini heat press, and iron the fabric flat down away, the seams away from the zipper part, and then go ahead and do the top stitch on the zipper. So when I come back, all of that will be in place. So here is what we have so far. We've got the both panels sewn together and the zipper and everything. The top stitching is done. I don't know if my camera is so bright in my craft room, but the top stitching is done on there. And now we are ready for the little pull tabs. So I'm going to show you how I fold these and put these on. Okay, so now we've got the top panel, there's the lining, and the same thing over here, top panel and the lining. And now these are the little tabs that I was talking about that are going to go on the end, the corner ends of the bag. So I'm just going to take this, fold it in half, so we're looking like that. And this is a little long than what it needs to be. But, and you kind of just measure like how much you want to have on your bag as a pull. So I'm going to go, I guess, maybe like, yeah, about that much. Now you can clip or pin that, but what I am going to use is some just regular embroidery tape. And I use the Kimberbell brand, which is my favorite. So I'm going to use that because I want this to stay in place and don't move at all. Because if you can clip it, but the clip is going to go on sideways, and sometimes you can have some shifting done. But with this tape, it is on here to stay. It's not going anywhere. So this is the end. This is not the zipper pull part, so you can just go ahead and feel confident and take that down. But when you get over here to this side where you're going to have the zipper tab, you want to make sure you open the zipper before you stitch the tab in. Otherwise you're going to sew up your bag together and you can't get in it. Okay, so we're going to pull it in half like that again and just place it. You want the fold part going into the bag. All right, so I may have to get my measuring tape out so I can make sure that they are even. And I'm going to take that. Okay, so on this step, just make sure on the end you want the fold going into the bag, and you want to make sure you unzip the zipper, but make sure the zipper stays lined up. Yeah, like that. And I'm just going to put a piece of tape right here just to extra security. So make sure your zipper is open to here, so you know middle ways of the bag, and then you want to put the one on the end where the tab goes. So this is what you should have. It looks like that. That's the folded part coming in. You can see where the zipper is unzipped to this point. Here's the zipper pull tab. And this other end, it doesn't matter because that's the end of the zipper, but you want to make sure that the folded part is going into the bag like that. All right, so now I am going to go to the machine and stitch on this side right here, and the same thing on this side here to hold the zipper tabs in place. So I just finished sewing the zipper, the pull tabs, and now I'm going to just take off this tape that I had to hold everything in place. And this little edge right here that's hanging off the zipper, extra part of the zipper and the extra part of the little tab, you can just go ahead and cut that. Let me use some scissors. Go ahead and cut this off. Okay. And then we'll do the same thing for this side over here. And cut that off. All right. Now it is time to clip the panels in place. So I have so this is how the tabs, that's how they turned out. And when you're doing your tabs, you want to back stitch. I don't know if I mentioned that, but you want to back stitch a couple of times. All right, so we're going to take the outer panel pieces and line them up corner to corner. And then we're going to go ahead and clip these because we're going to go to the machine and stitch this. We're going to go to the machine and stitch straight down that way. And then we do the same thing with the lining piece. You want to line it up. Get it all nice and even, corner to corner. Something like that. And we'll, oops, it keeps falling apart. Okay, so we're going to get this stitched as well. And I will be right back. So we are almost finished. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch down these panels and I'll be right back. All right, so now that I've got those two sections sewn together, which is here to there, and then on the lining, I think I forgot to mention to leave a little gap so that you can pull the outer fabric through when it's time. So that's sewn with a little space left open. Now what we want to do is, let me get in frame. We're going to take our pieces and line them up seam to seam. So this is I'm holding the outer fabric, and we're going to line that up seam to seam and lay it down kind of flat. And then we're going to take the lining fabric and do the same thing. So we want to line it up seam to seam onto the outer fabric. And so now we have something that looks like that. And we are going to clip it in place. So when we get to the machine, we're going to stitch straight across. And I think we're getting I think we're getting close to the part where I messed up the first time I tried to make these bags. So I'm going to make sure I pay close attention this time. All right, so we got everything all nicely clipped. At this side, clip. And you know, make sure that your fabric is even and everything is lined up neatly. So we're going to do the same thing for this side. And I'm going to clip the center part first to kind of hold it together. And now I am going to clip the ends. And once I do this, we can head over to the machine and do a stitch. Okay, so I've got these clipped on the ends. I'm just going to do a straight stitch right across. So I'm going to leave myself room. So I think, I'm pretty sure last time when I tried this, I was so close to the edge where, and you'll see what I'm talking about later, I didn't give myself enough room. So I am going to sew, kind of start right in there. That's probably half an inch maybe. Don't do like a eighth of an inch, nothing, anything like that, because you'll end up like I did the first time. All right, so I'm gonna go stitch this and I will be right back. Now we are at the final step. So we're ready to make it look like a box shape. So what we have right now is this. This is how it looks. Okay, so now I just need to go in and on each corner, and this is where I messed up the last time. So I'm gonna go slow and make sure I'm paying attention. But you wanna take the corners and spread them out. I guess that's kind of like a triangle shape maybe. And let me lay this side so I can have the seam as a guide. Okay, so you want to lay it like this on the table. And what I'm going to do is get my measuring tape and I'm going to measure 2 inches from this point right here. So I'm going to put the 2 on here and go back. So I've got the 2 right there and I'm going back to maybe not 2 inches, maybe 1.5. Yeah. So I'm going to put it on the half mark and go back to here. I'm thinking, hold on, y'all. Yeah, 1.5. Okay, so 1.5, and I'm going to mark it across here so I know where I'm going to sew. So since I'm not selling this bag, this is a bag I'm just making for me, I'm going to use this little invisible type pencil because I think I mentioned in one of my other videos, I don't really like using these because I know I always feel like if I'm selling the item, I always feel like the ink is going to come back through. But anyway, we're going to use it now, and I need my ruler so I can draw a straight line. And let's see, we'll just use this. I don't know where my little square ruler went to. Okay, so I'm going to put this here. Hopefully my head is not in the way. And I already drew the little line. Luckily, this is a pink, so it's kind of blending in with the flowers. All right, let's go straight across there like that. So that's what we have. I don't know if you can see it, but it's right there, going straight across there. So I'm going to do this for all 4 corners, and then I am going to go to the machine and stitch on directly on that line that I just made. And that is what's going to make the box shape. And I think this is going to be called like a French seam. Yeah, this is a French seam because you're going to, well, you'll see when I come back how it's going to be sewn. And so yeah, so I'm going to do this for all 4 sides. All right, so I'm still at the machine. I just finished sewing those corners where I made the little stitch line, as you can see right there. I stitched that on all 4 corners. So now the next step is to go ahead and cut this off. And I'm going to do that for all 4 corners. So I'm going to cut not on the stitch line, but just a little bit above the stitch line. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I will be ready to flip the bag inside out and sew these seams. So once I cut this piece off, you're going to have something that looks like this. So you see right there, it looks like that. So what I would do is turn the bag inside out. And this is the part where I messed up on when I was making the first bag. So the next step after you cut it, you want to make sure you have all the pieces of the fabric together, and you want to do a stitch straight along here, and your bag will be finished. So I'm going to sit here and do this at the machine. So I know you guys don't want to sit and watch me sew, but basically you're taking this raw edge that we just cut off, turn the bag inside out with the lining out, and we are going to make sure we have all those pieces pushed in and stitch straight across there. And then when I come back on camera, I'll have the finished bag. Okay, so here we have the bag, and I went ahead and sewed the corners like that. That's how that ends up looking, so you don't have any raw edges on the inside. After we push, you push those in from what we left on the outside. So anyway, this is the shape that it's supposed to be, and I like the size. That turned out perfect. Give it this little shape. So there we have the cute little boxy bag, and I even got the tabs nicely lined up with the zipper on both sides. I think I struggled with that on the first one that I made. I was trying to find it because I was going to show you guys how it turned out, but I couldn't find it. But anyway, so this is the bag, and yep, I like it. So it turned out pretty cute. And then we have what we started out with, which was the test with the faux leather and the DTF. So that stayed on nicely. Once it cooled down, just let it dry. And so that is it for the video for today. And I want to thank you guys for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this. It was not really a tutorial, maybe a semi-tutorial, because, I was kind of feeling my way through all of this. But thank you so much for sticking around with me and sticking to the end. And if you made it this far, please give me a pink heart at the end of the video. And until next time, I will see you guys. And please don't forget to also give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, and consider subscribing to the channel. I really appreciate it. So I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye.